Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Just Fun Stuff and another beautiful day on Funland. Poppy's all dressed up and ready in her fishing waders because with the summer here, it makes me think of fishing. So I thought, why not use a bunch of the items we already have and create this cute little quiet, sleepy fishing village or a hamlet, if you will. So that is what we're doing today, and I can't wait to get started. So I had already had some of the cliffside up from a previous build, so I left it there and just needed to do a little adding on. And my villagers were having a little argument in the background, so I kind of felt bad for them, but I didn't have time to break it up. I was busy trying to put together this new area. The highest part of the cliff, I wanted to put the lighthouse on because, again, I wanted it to be like a lighthouse looking over this little quiet fishing village. So I wanted it to be the highest point. So we put in a lighthouse, took away the additional cliffside, added some fencing in the back, just, you know, aesthetic type stuff. And again, I was just using a bunch of the stuff that we already had. I have tons of fencing, pine trees, storefronts, simple panels, bunk beds, tons and tons of the gears and gear apparatuses. So I wanted to kind of include all of them and make a cool looking little fishing village like you can see starting here. Now I customized those two simple panels to look kind of like doors. So it's almost like a door leading up to where the lighthouse is. At least that was what I had planned. And then again, storefronts to act like the little houses. I'm kind of going to break up the houses a little bit like I did if you saw the market build that we did, the steampunk market. It kind of had different shapes of houses in different heights and different colors, and that's kind of what I'm going for here without using the medieval building sides. They just didn't, they didn't have that little fishing village feel that I was going for, so I stuck to storefronts, simple panels. I think I have some of the retro transportation stops, I'm pretty sure. At this point, I decided because of the size of my cliff, I wanted to add an ivy to it instead of extending it to be able to fit in more housing. So I saved an ivy. I went and picked it out just from Able Sisters, and you'll see after I go, well, you won't see because I cut out customizing, but I go to customize using that ivy design, and unfortunately it has a big white chunk in it. It's not a solid ivy going from top to bottom. So I will be changing it and using a brick that I already had. I believe it's the brick path that I used for the medieval, the steampunk market path. I just used a chunk of it to create kind of a brick look that'll go in between some of the houses in the fishing village to kind of break it up a little bit. That way I didn't need to add more cliffside or try to get more storefronts or any other buildings. It just adds a little dimension to there. You can see the brick going in. That would have been ivy that we chose from Able Sisters, but the ivy just didn't work, and I didn't want to go back in and look for another one when we had the brick, and it kind of fit. So we went ahead and used the brick pattern. Now back to the wood planking. I've used this before on quite a few other builds. It's just really simple. I believe I found it at Able Sisters too. Just wood plank it's called, and it just works perfect with this build because again, it kind of reminds me of like that dock style wood with kind of the moss or the algae growing on it that you would find around the water. So I thought that was a perfect path to use for this build, creating that kind of walkway in front of all the houses. Now I'm just putting back things I had to move to put in the path. Then we'll go ahead and finish out the path. And again, nothing intricate. I just wanted to do in front of the houses and then kind of a little walkway towards where the water is. But now you can see the little tiny fishing village. I'm adding some transportation stops as kind of a little shed, but there was a little gyroid planted there, so we had to dig that up. Then I had some red storefronts left over from when I did Poppy's general store, I believe was the build I used them for. So I wanted to create like a little house by the beach, almost like a little boathouse. So that's what I made using the storefronts. Back to our little shed, put a little stool by it, just creating a workspace in front of the water, adding more trees. I haven't used a lot of trees and a lot of builds lately because they've been all steampunk builds, so not a lot of greenery. So I definitely wanted to add more trees, more green to this one. Now just adding more green by putting in the plant partitions because depth is everything. So adding the different layers and the different textures is awesome. Then back to the wood plank. I wanted to create almost like, I think they call them slips, where you park a boat that's not in the water. I think that's what it's called. Do not quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. But I wanted to create that area with I wanted the party light arches to kind of like line it, making it like its own little private dock space so that we could park our little boat there. Right now we are just adding more lights, more street lights, some bags. Now I'm putting in the yacht. See, it's parked in its own little spot. I had these barrels and I know that they have nothing to do with fishing or a little fishing village, but they're just so cute and I haven't used them yet, and I purposely got up the one day and made sure that I came on the game before Daisy May left just so I could build them, so I was determined to use them. Now I'm just adding some country fencing to kind of line the walkway a little bit, and again, fencing adds dimension. I went with the country fencing. Now I might go back and change that at some point. I don't think I'll use wrought iron fencing, but I might just go with a vertical board fencing, something a little more rustic than that. Obviously country fencing is very rustic, but not the rustic that I'm looking for. I'm not going for that farm field or feel. I'm going for, you know, kind of mapping out a little village area or a fishing village, so might go with the vertical fencing. Now it's just decorating. I had some wheat fields, so I thought I would kind of fill the beach area up a little bit with some wheat fields, taking a look around, seeing what we need to do. The bamboo wasn't working with the whole feeling I was going for, so we cut that down, added some more pine trees for green, and you can see it's starting to look like a little fishing village. Had more gears in my pockets, added those. They don't really serve a purpose other than I think they're actually really cool and they look really pretty, and I like the movement in my build, so I wanted to add some of those again because we had them and they're pretty. But you can see it's starting to look like a little village on the water now. People go down to the water, they do their fishing, they come home to their little houses. I love the lighthouse on top of the cliff. I think at night that's gonna look really cool with the light going around. Just adding more storefronts. Again, it's all about dimension, but I think we are complete. It looks like a little fishing, quiet town in front of the water. People can go down. That's where the boats are, the fishing stuff. The little houses. I love the lighthouse in the background. I love all the gears. They just look really cool. Added a few mush items. Really happy with the way that it turned out, and I think it flows with the rest of the island that we've created so far. Anyway, that is our quiet little sleepy fishing village or hamlet. I hope you enjoyed this build in the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you've already subscribed. You know you're awesome and appreciated. Thank you so much, and I will be back with more Animal Crossing videos.